Hello and welcome back to another discussion of research writing. This time we are going to discuss the research paper format. Most students and research writers are confronted with the dilemma of writing and not knowing what to write. This discussion will give you the fundamental contents of a research paper that will serve as an outline and guide while writing your research paper. This is Dr. Edward L. Padama, and before we start, please support the channel by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell to alert you when a new video is uploaded. And if you have questions regarding research writing, please place them at the comment box below this video and I will definitely get back to you. So let's start. Okay, before we proceed to the main discussion, let us discuss the function of the research paper format. So basically, this is an outline of a research paper that serves as a visual reminder on the pertinent details to be included in your research. This also serves as a skeletal version of the research paper and will guide the writer through the research writing process. So as an assurance to the writers right now, the discussion or the preceding discussion has been adopted by higher education institutions and they make use of this format in writing a full research paper. Most of the research parts that I am going to be presenting and discussing will be discussed thoroughly and comprehensively in a separate video. So some of these parts I will just run through and some of them are self-explanatory, so we do not need to dwell into them comprehensively. And we will start with what we call the preliminaries. So this include the approval sheet, acknowledgement, dedication, and list of tables. All of these are included before the main part of the research starts, which is chapter 1. So this is what we call the body. So the preliminaries precedes the main body of the research. So the complete list of the preliminaries are the approval sheet, acknowledgement, dedication, abstract, list of figures, and list of tables in that particular order or sequence. Now, chapter 1 is written in this form or format. This is the standard and fundamental format that you will always be using when you write your research paper. So it starts with the problem and its background, the significance or importance of the study, and the rationale and justification why you chose your study, conceptual or theoretical framework, depending on what you utilize in the process or research process, the research paradigm, statement of the problem or SOP, the hypothesis if you are conducting an experimental research under quantitative research, and the ODV or operational definition of variables, which was known before as the definition of terms. And last but not the least, the scope and the limitation of your study. So this one discusses the coverage, the inclusion, and the exclusion of your study. And then you justify why are these elements or factors excluded in the research paper. The next part of the body of your research is chapter 2, which is entitled Review of Related Literature and Studies. Before, it was done by using local and foreign literature and studies, but this time, according to the mechanics and the policy given by the higher education institutions, the RRL or Review of Related Literature would depend on the necessity and the availability of the literature and studies. Necessity in terms of if the sufficient number of literature reviews and studies are enough or sufficient, then there is no need to add more than what is needed. Then chapter 3 is entitled Research Design and Methodology. So it includes the method that you used for your research, the description of the population and the sample or the respondents of your study, the instrument that you used in gathering the data gathering procedure, the process or the description of the process that you used, and the data processing and statistical treatment, which includes the formula that you used in arriving at the results of your study. Chapter 4 is entitled Presentation Analysis and Interpretation of the Data. So this part presents the table or the data in tabular form, and then immediately after that, you present the interpretation of these tables. And last but not the least, in the body of your research, you have summary, conclusions, and recommendations. So you include the summary of findings, of course, the conclusion, and the recommendations. After the body of your research, you now have the following parts of your research. You have the references that you used in the body of your research. So this was known as the bibliography before. Now we use the term reference. Appendices, examples of these appendices that you can compile in your research are your letter of request, your letter of endorsement, instrument validation form, the table of specifications, questionnaire for pre-test and post-test, again if you are using an experimental research, lesson plans, and this one is for the statistical treatment that was used in the study. So in this case, this is Cronbach's alpha. Student score in the pre-test and post-test. Curriculum vitae, which is supposed to be the last part of your research and your appendices. Then after this part, you have the list of tables. So this is the sample format. You include the table number, the title of the table, and the page number. So the page number applies to the other parts of the research. It was not presented because this will depend on the research that you are writing. The next under this is the list of figures. So if you used a diagram, a figure, a photo, you include them in your research. So example is Bronner's cycle of inquiry, and then you include the page number where this figure would be located. Okay, so we have arrived at the last part of our slide, and I would like to thank you for joining me in this very brief discussion of the research paper format. I would like to ask for your support again by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell to alert you when a new video is uploaded. And if you have any questions regarding research writing, place them at the comment box of this video and I will immediately get back to you. So stay tuned for the more comprehensive part of this research format in the next video that I will upload. Thank you, goodbye, and stay safe. God bless.